Okay, so this lesson is on graphs and tables. For this, you're going to need a note pack or a notebook and a pencil and a ruler. You might want a deck of cards, pattern blocks, graph and grid paper, or a highlighter. Our goal is to represent and describe patterns and relationships using graphs and tables. Okay, so first, what do you already know about graphs and tables? What is a graph? What is a table? Take a solid 5 minutes to make a mind map about graphs and tables. Okay, so a table of values, it's a way to present numbers in columns and rows so that you can see patterns. Tables of values can be vertical, like Way's cube pattern, or it can be horizontal, like Hannah's here. A table of values is used to organize information and find patterns. So Way's cube pattern here, the shape number 1, 2, 3, the number of cubes 2, 6, 10. And then it's the same as Hannah's cube pattern, just that this one's horizontal. Shape 1, 2, 3, cubes 2, 6, 10. So here's our example. Leah is playing a type of solitaire, and each new row she makes increases by the same number of cards. She wants to continue this increasing pattern as far as she can with a deck of 52 cards. Question is, how many cards will be in the last row Leah can make? So this is where, if you actually have a deck of cards, please do this right now. Shuffle them up. Start with 1 card in the first row, then 3 cards in the second row, then 5 cards in the next row, and add 2 more every time. Okay, and you can see how many cards will be in the last row that Leah can make. She recorded the card pattern in 2 tables of values. Her first one here shows the row number and how many cards in each row, and then her second one shows the row number and then the total number of cards that she's used. So she uses 1 card in the first row and then 3 more in the second row. So now she's used 4 cards and 5 more. So now she's used 9 cards. Okay, so if we keep this table going, then how many cards will be in the last row? Well, in her 5th row, she'll have she'll have 9 cards in that 5th row. And so that will mean that by the 5th row, she'll have used 25 cards in total. Then in that 6th row, she'll use 11, which means that by the time she's done 6 rows, she'll have used 36 cards total. 25 plus 11 is 36. And that 7th row, she'll have used 13 cards, which 36 plus 13 is 49. And then she's not going to be able to make a full 8th row. She's only going to have 3 cards left over. And so she's going to stop that pattern there. And so depending on how you understand this question, there's either going to be 13 cards in the last row that Leah can make, or there's going to be three cards because those are the amount of cards that she has left out of her normal deck of 52. Okay. So that's making a table. You can see that they're very helpful. Okay. And then making a graph. It's a way of showing information so that it could be more easily understood. Graphs can be concrete, like students wearing red in one line and students not wearing red in another. They can be pictorial, like a picture or a symbol showing the number of items in each category, or they can be abstract, like bars on a graph to show the number of each category. And so this is an example of a bar graph, and this is an example of a line graph. So how to build a graph from a table. You label your title, your x-axis, and your y-axis based on your information. You just decide on a scale for your graph, again, based on information, and then you plot those points. That's how you make a graph. So you can practice graphing this data onto this coordinate plane, and then this data onto this coordinate plane. And then here's our key practice question. Jaden made this card pattern by adding the same number of cards to each row. So your job is to fill in the table of values to show Jaden's pattern. Write down what the pattern rule is, and tell me how many cards there will be in row 10. By the way, Jaden has more than 1 deck of cards. Okay, and then once you're finished that, hop onto iExcel and try these 3 skills. They are all really good practice. And then our problem of the week, we're going to revisit square madness and try to figure out how many squares there are, and maybe if you use a table of values, that might help you a little bit. Okay, and then once you're finished all that, I encourage you to explore more. You can create your own graph based on your normal day. There's this problem with Nikisha and Hannah traveling and one person leaving at a different time as the other. When are they going to catch up to each other? Here's some math books that we have in our library that have to do with tables and patterns. You can create your own pattern problem. These are important vocabulary. This is another IXL skill. Here's another IXL skill. Here's another IXL skill. Here's a key problem that includes using triangle pattern blocks and following some steps to make a table of values. Here's another problem about like buying a card where you can get a cheaper movie ticket. See how much movies you have to go to before the card is worth it. Another one about unpacking your car and how much each bag of rice is going to weigh. ST Math shows one-step equations in a pretty neat way. Here's another problem about camping and how much it's going to cost for all of our grade 6s to go. Increasing or decreasing pattern, playing around with pattern blocks, textbook page, a little bit of an introduction using circles, table of values template if you'd like that, grid paper, vocabulary, grid paper, more IXL, some examples of Tom's triangular problem, some more questions for you to try. Awesome. That is it. Have a good day.